Hey everybody, Blaise here, and today I thought I would get away from the computer for a little while and come back and get onto my good old drawing board, my old Disney desk, my animation desk, and I just thought I'd sit down and do a little bit of animal character drawing for you. It's something I've got a lot of experience doing with Lion King and Brother Bear and, a lot of the other Disney films that I've worked on, Aladdin, and it's something I really love to do, and so I thought it would be fun just to sit down and draw, and I'll just talk about some of the things that I think about when I'm creating animal characters, okay? And I'm not talking about realistic animals, I'm talking about making characters out of them. So why don't we just go ahead and dive in. First thing is, I like to, when I do this kind of stuff, I like to work on big newsprint. It's really cheap, you can get it at any art store. It's just newsprint paper. It's the same paper that, your newspaper is made out of. And then the other thing that I'm using is this drawing utensil. It's basically just a holder, and I've got this one's almost used up, but this is black pastel, but it's it's packed very hard, so it's almost like graphite. It's almost like a number 6 or a 6B pencil, but it's pastel, and I love to use it. It's nice, big, bold drawing line. And why don't we just go ahead and dive in. The first thing, let's just start with my go-to. I like to draw lions, big cats, you guys know that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start. Now the first thing that I think about when I'm doing animal characters is I wanna think about personality. That's the first thing that I wanna get down. The anatomy and all that stuff I'll talk about in just a minute, but that'll come in later. And the other thing I wanna talk about, and that I think about, is making sure that I'm getting interesting proportions. I wanna make sure, the biggest killer that I'm always talking about is making sure that you don't have evenness in your drawings. Evenness is a killer. And if you think about music, if you listen to a piece of music and it's just ba 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 ba, that's boring. But if you can get some texture in that, if you can get some unevenness in it, da 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 da, that kind of thing, that's more exciting, that's more interesting. And it's the same with visual, with when you're working visually. When you can get some unevenness, when you can get some texture in there, some visual texture, then that's where it gets interesting. So that's the first thing I like to think about is expression, attitude, and making sure that I'm not even. But let's, I want to start with a lion. Let's just start with a lion, and I want to do, let's see. Let's have him looking off. Maybe he's a little puzzled. And you'll see, I start very loose. And I want very clear expressions. So I like to start with the eyes a lot of times. I'll get that nose happening in here. And you'll see I'm going for major shapes as well. But here, so already you can see, and I'm just kind of making this up as we go. I'm thinking about a lion, and I'm thinking about the anatomy of a lion. That's the other thing, when you're working on character design, especially with animals, you have to know that anatomy. Just because you're creating a cartoon, so to speak, doesn't mean that you can get away with not knowing the anatomy. Matter of fact, you need to know it even more because you need to know what you're abstracting. A caricature is an abstraction. So here, I'll have him looking down, or her, maybe we'll make it a female, but either way, that's coming down. And I want to push maybe the size of the face a little bit and get a nice big jaw. Like, oh, look at that. Keep your attitude simple. There. So here I'm trying to go for a nice simple shape overall. You can see right here. And I know that on a lion, if you look at that slope on the nose coming back, that head comes back this way. So I can get that brow up nice and high, and go for a nice clear expression. I love drawing big like this. It's so much fun. Now cats, big cats, they got the cheekbone coming down here. Here's a leopard, which is not too dissimilar from a lion, but you know, you've got the bridge of the nose coming down here. The cartilage is all right here, which is what I'm drawing right here. The cheekbones come in, which is coming down right here. The eye sockets are all right in here. And actually, that's emphasized by there's some markings under the eye right there on the lion. There we go. So I keep, and that jaw comes up, lots of muscle back in here. I keep this anatomy, even though this is a leopard. I've got lions. I've got a lion up in my bedroom. I keep this anatomy in my head, you know, throughout the entire body. When I'm caricaturing the body, I keep all of that in my head as I'm drawing. Because if you know what you're abstracting from, if you know the reality, then when you create the character, the caricature, then it's that much more believable. And that's what you want. You want believability in your characters. That's what we always shop for at Disney. Is, you know, we create worlds and we create characters that you can get behind. And in order to do that, you have to believe that they're there. You have to believe that they're real. And so not only from a writing standpoint, but also from a visual standpoint. Obviously from a visual standpoint. So here's something, you know, somewhat quickly. And I know that they have a bunch of fur that comes up in here. But let's go ahead. I think I'm going to go ahead and try. I'm going to try giving him let's turn it into a male. Give him a little bit of a mane. So I think that mane would go right off the page. Now, male lions, before you get to that the main mane, the big part of the mane, they've got this tuft right here of fur that comes around, that grows off the jaw. There we go. And then that comes back into the mane over here. Let's see what we want to do. Oh, the other thing too, so if you need to erase, I keep a kneaded eraser, you know, a gum eraser that I can just stretch and play with. I try not to erase that much, not when I'm doing this sort of thing. I love, you can see, when you draw big, it's so satisfying. And I want to get a nice flat edge. There we go. I love drawing big like this, especially when I'm doing character stuff. It's so much fun, especially with pastel and charcoal, and you can just get in and smear stuff around. There. So here I've got a character kind of surprised and looking off screen right here. And I want to let this nose come out, and kind of want the silhouette to be nice and clear. So I don't want to bring that mane down in. So I think I'll erase this back and just let this come up. There, just something like that. There's something quick. But I'm trying to think of, pushing proportions and having some fun with it like that. How about a bear? I love drawing bears. Same thing. I'll start with, I like to start with that simple shape. Now bears have a different type of nose. Once again, going back to understanding that anatomy, it's important. If you look at a dog's nose and a bear's nose, they're very similar. Dogs and bears are very distantly related, and so they have similar noses. But here I'm trying to find a nice simple way of portraying that. But here it is, it's Sunday afternoon, and it's one of my favorite things to do on a Sunday is just to sit here and just draw, just like when I was a little kid. It's something I love doing. And once again, I want a nice, simple expression, just like so. And they have the same thing. Here's a bear skull right here. Oh, let's see if I can do this without knocking anything over. But this is a big grizzly bear skull, and you can see there's that the nasal opening. And that cartilage for the nose goes right over the top of that. So where that meets the bone, you can see that shows up here. And I like to show that in the drawing. Give them some tooths. Give them a few teeth there. But I'm getting detailed already. I'm getting too detailed too quick. So let's go ahead, and I want to go ahead and get his eyes in. And now, he's smiling, so I'm going to push his eyes together a little bit and give him a little eyes relative to his head. I'm going to have him looking off to the right. You want clarity. Clarity, clarity. Those are his eyelids. And here, same thing. I'm gonna push his brow up. And bears have big, muscular heads. And a bear's jaw, that lower jaw, you want to think about when you open any animal's mouth. A lot of people make the mistake that they make the corners of the mouth the hinge. That's where it opens. But you got to remember, the opening, the hinge of a jaw is way back behind, back here. It's way back here. So when you open up a character's mouth, you want to make sure that you get that accurately. So I'm thinking about that jaw way back here, coming down and opening up like that. That's going to feel more accurate. That's going to make it feel more believable. Once again, even though we're doing something cartoony, you want to make sure that it's believable. And bears also have these big droopy lips on the end. But the key is just making sure you get good, strong attitude. I want to make sure that the attitude is clear. So that's why, when I'm creating the smile, I don't want a lot of different angles and line changes. I want it to be a smile. And that makes it nice and clear. You can see when you're working with this pastel like this, I can get nice and dark and just get in there and have some fun with it. There. Just like that. Now I'm going to give him a little bit more meat out here. Maybe a little fur up on top. Get those bare ears. Big necks. Right into the shoulder blades. So here what I've done, even little things like this, little details, you know, I added this line in here. It's not just a separation between the snout and the cheek, but it helps define the shape of that cheek in order to push the feel of that smile. Okay? Look for attitude. You want to make sure above, beyond everything else, make sure your attitude is nice and clear and strong. After that, make sure your anatomy is right. Even with cartoony characters, you want to make sure that anatomy is clear. Okay? There's another one. And once again, if I wanted to, you can get in here and I can lightly shade it in if I want. I love working with this pastel, like I said. Get in here and have some fun with it. There we go. I'm always trying to make sure that I'm shading in the direction that that fur grows. Okay? There. So, I just figured I'd do a couple little drawings for you just to show you what I think about when I'm doing these drawings. I want to make this a nice quick one for you. But go out and try, you know, get some newsprint, get a nice big drawing utensil. You're going to get dirty. You can see my hands are all dirty. But get in there and just have some fun drawing and draw big, and don't worry about making good or bad drawings, but, you know, make sure that you do it over and over and over again and think about that anatomy. Imagine, you know, remember your anatomy, learn your anatomy, and make sure you get those expressions nice and clear. I've got a character design course over on my website where I talk about a lot of that, and I get into much more depth on my website at creatureartteacher.com. And it's something that I've learned from some of the greatest animators at Disney, and these are some of the techniques that I've picked up over time. And these are the things that we apply to our own stuff when we're designing stuff for our films. But anyway, enough of that. I just wanted to do a quick video with you guys today, do a couple of drawings and show you what I think about. I hope you guys have a great day. Remember, we're artists and we're meant to put some beauty back into the world. So go out there, do something good and put some beauty back into the world. And until next time, get out there and draw, have fun, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye. Hey, thanks for watching. And if you liked what you saw, please hit the red subscribe button down below. Spread the word. And also, if there's something that you're not seeing that you'd like to see, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks a lot.